right, good morning, my friends. It's Miss Amanda from the Washington Township Public Library, and today we're going to do something fun. We're going to do some more science from home, and today we are going to make banana bread, because did you know that baking is science? It's an exact mixture of ingredients to get something fun and also delicious. So today we're going to be making banana bread from Food Network, and I will link the recipe below in the description. But join me along as we make this delicious, delicious bread. Woo! Friends, so here's our ingredients for our banana bread. We need 2 eggs, a tablespoon of milk, some cinnamon, some baking soda and baking powder, a teaspoon of each, some salt, some butter, some sugar, about a cup, 2 cups of flour. The most important ingredient of all for banana bread is bananas, deliciously ripe. Ooh, look at them. They're going to be so good. And because baking is a science, today we're going to experiment what happens when you add bananas and blueberries. Ooh, hopefully something delicious. So for our first step, we want to take our butter, put it in a big mixing bowl. But I think we want to take the wrapper off first, right? Because would it be good if we mix butter like that? I don't know about you, but I don't want some butter paper in my banana bread. I don't think that would be very good. So we're going to take the wrapper off the butter and have my butter. I put it in the microwave for a little bit. It's unwrapped because the butter was a little too stiff to mix. We have to mix it with our granulated sugar. So we put our butter in the bowl. Make sure to get all that buttery goodness out of there. And my sink is right there, so in goes that. And then we have our cup of sugar, so we're going to add the sugar and we're going to mash these together to make a nice, beautiful little sugary paste. So I have my hand mixer right here, and we're going to turn it on and then make a nice little paste. Butter and sugar and butter mixing together to the most delicious thing. So we see now that our butter and sugar are nice and fluffy, we get to add another ingredient, a third ingredient. Does anyone want to take a guess what it is? It's eggs. So we have our 2 eggs here. Now, we can't really just add the eggs into the bowl in their shell because no one wants, just like we don't want butter paper in our banana bread, we don't want eggshells in our banana bread. It wouldn't be the most nicest taste, I say, because it'd be a little crunchy, and I don't know about you, but I don't like crunchy banana bread. So we're going to take our eggs, we'll take 1, and then we're going to crack it. So as you can see, we cracked 1 egg into the bowl. Now we're going to take our mixer, and then we're going to mix that egg in with the butter and the sugar. Woo! And look what happened to our nice yellow little sugary paste. It's become a little more lumpy or doughy, I would say. So once we got that nice and mixed in, we're going to take our second egg, because we've only added 1 so far and the recipe calls for 2. So we're going to take our second egg. We're going to crack it. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Woo! There you go. Put your shell in the sink. Rinse your hands off because no one wants eggy hands. And then we're going to mix again until this egg is nice and incorporated. Making bread is the most delicious thing on earth. I love bananas and I love bread, banana bread. Okay, friends, now that our batter looks like this, nice and doughy, not really doughy, I guess I would say more nice and like, ooh, I just want to like cake batter. Oh, like good slime, but I think it would stick to your hands and not work like slime does. We're going to move on to our next step, which is mash our bananas. Ooh-hoo-hoo. All right, so our next step is to take these bananas, mash them up into little smushy pieces, And then we're gonna add them to our mixture. But we can't mash our bananas like this, right? No, then we get banana peel, and I don't want banana peel in my banana bread. So I'm gonna peel these bananas, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that our bananas are peeled, the recipe says that you can mash your bananas with a fork. Today, we are gonna use this beautiful little masher. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna go and just smush the bananas. Ooh, they're gonna be so yummy. So I'm gonna mash those, and then I'll be right back for our next step. All right, so now that our bananas are nice and goopy, ooh, look at that. Banana mash is the best kind of mash. Our next step, the recipe calls for, is we are going to preheat our oven to 325 degrees. We're going to take a nice little pan. This is a 9x5 loaf pan. And we're going to have that set out so when it's time for our bread, we're ready. All right, and then next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our tablespoon of milk and mix it together with our teaspoon of cinnamon. Ooh. Does anyone want to try the cinnamon challenge? I think we'll try. Okay, so now our recipe says we need to mix all our dry ingredients. We have 2 cups of flour. We're going to mix in a tablespoon of baking powder and a tablespoon of baking soda. Both help the banana bread kind of rise and stay nice and firm, so it's not goopy. We're going to mix that in with our flour, and then we're going to take our teaspoon of salt and add that. And then Miss Amanda found a fork in her kitchen, and we're going to mix it together, ooh, like a merry-go-round. All right. I think that's nice and incorporated. All right, so now we're going to take our delicious, delicious banana mash, and we're going to dump it slowly but surely into our gooey paste. That is the sugar and butter and eggs. Woo! And then, can you believe that that's going to become banana bread? We're going to take our mixer and we're going to mix until the bananas are finally incorporated. Okay, so as you can see, our bananas are finally incorporated and the mixture is a little soupy. So the next step in the recipe calls for mixing little increments of our dry ingredients, so the flour, the baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So let me go grab that. I'll be right back. So we don't want to overwhelm our mixer, so here we have our dry ingredients. So we're going to pour in a little bit like that, and then mix. Alright, it's still looking a little soupy, so let's add some more flour. Oh, we'll just add the rest, and then we're going to mix that and see what happens. Okay, so now you see we have our banana bread mixture mix, and it's looking real good. I'm just going to take a spatula and scrape the sides because I want to make sure all of the banana-y goodness is mixed in. So now I just scrape the sides, and I'm going to give it one final mix because we want to make sure all the flour is incorporated, all the dry ingredients, especially the flour, is incorporated, because you don't want big chunks of flour in your bread. It wouldn't taste very good. So I missed a step, and we're going to now have to add our milk and our cinnamon in with this mixture. So we're going to fold it in like this. The mixture was supposed to go in with the bananas when we were mashing them, and I missed that. So we're just going to mix it in now. Ooh. And what happened to the batter? Did it change colors? It looks a little more brown, a little more like spotted, I would say. Not like polka dotted, but kind of like it has freckles. So we're gonna make sure we mix in all of that mixture. Okay, so now you see it looks nice and yummy and ready for our tummies. No, not our tummies, because there's uncooked eggs and that could make us have really bad tummy aches. But I think we need one more ingredient to add in to our beautiful, delicious banana bread, and that is some blueberries. So here I have about a cup of blueberries, and before I add them into the mixture, I want to put a little dusting of flour on them, because what I've learned from the Great British Bake Off and other cooking shows that I love so much is that if you mix some blueberries or whatever fruit you're trying to put into a cake or bread, if you mix it with a little dusting of flour, it helps make sure that the fruit stays suspended within your cake or your bread. Otherwise, all your blueberries are just going to float to the bottom, and that's not as fun and as exciting. So I'm going to dust them with a little flour. I'll be right back. So now you see here we have our blueberries dusted in some flour. I just put a little spoonful, you know, to add them. And now we're going to pour them into here. Oh, a little more flour than we wanted, but that's okay. So, and what the flour does to our nice, delicious blueberries is it gives the blueberries and the batter something to hold on to. So the blueberries are sticking to where they are in the bread batter, and that means they're not going to want to go away from where they're hanging. They're like little monkeys just hanging on a tree. All right, so now we have our blueberries nice and mixed in. Okay, so then we're going to take our 9x3, 5-inch deep pan, our loaf pan, and we're going to grease it. So let me get some Pam. So I have this Pam baking spray, and we're just gonna spray it all up in our loaf pan, because we don't want our batter sticking to the sides. All right, I think we're ready. All right, ready? We're gonna try and do this one-handed. We're gonna take our batter, which is right here, and we're gonna pour it into the loaf pan. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Comment down below, do you think I can do this one-handed? I don't, but I have faith in myself right now. Woo. Slowly but surely, like molasses, it's coming into the pan. All right, I'm gonna pour the rest of it. I'll be right back. All right, sorry, it was really hard to pour and hold our bread pan, our bread mixture, while trying to put it in our pan. So now we're ready to bake. Sorry if you hear extra noises out behind us. That's my 3 dogs. That's Beasley, Witten, and Boozy. Hi, Boozy. Hi, babies. Aren't they cute? I love them so much. My little dopies. All right, so now back to baking. We are going to open up our oven. Be careful, it's going to be hot, and we don't want to burn hands, so you might need an adult for this part. And you're going to take your loaf pan, and you're going to put it in right in the middle like that. Close the oven, and then we're going to set a timer for about an hour, and then come back and see how our bread is coming. So I'll be back in about an hour, guys. Enjoy! So we just took the bread out of the oven, and as you can see, it was a little overfilled. That was my fault. I probably should have put the loaf into 2 different pans. But we're going to check it to make sure that it's done. So we're going to take a toothpick. We're going to stick it in the middle and pull it out and see if there's any gibblies or gooblies on there where there isn't. But if we see right here, that part has some gibblies and goobies. So we're going to put it back in the oven for another, let's say like 10 minutes, and hopefully it'll be done by then, because we want it baked all the way through. friends, our bread is out of the oven. It was about an hour and I'd say an hour and a half in the oven baking. But doesn't it look yummy? So we're gonna let it cool for probably like 10 minutes or so, and then I'll take a slice out and see how it tastes. All right, guys, our banana bread is nice and cool, and as you can see, our trick worked with the blueberries, so the flour helped to keep them all throughout the bread, and ooh, it smells so good. So I am going to link the recipe below. It's from Food Network, and it's the best banana bread, and then I just went a little crazy and experimented with some blueberries. And if you guys try this at home, make sure you are working with an adult because there's a lot of heat involved and I don't want anyone to get burned. Otherwise, if you do make this recipe, don't forget to tag the library, WTPL Library. And otherwise, have a great old time and thank you for joining me on Science from Home today.